Hi everyone, and welcome to the Atoms and Moles lab. This lab, you will be using this kit right here from your lab kit, this baggie, and you'll also need your digital scale. And that's pretty much it. So I'm just going to quickly go through a demonstration of this. So in your blue folder, you have your assigned isotopes for these atoms. So it looks something like this. And you're going to decorate a couple of cookies. That's the first part, the edible atoms part. So even though it's called edible atoms, I don't actually encourage you to eat these. I didn't prepare these in a sterile fashion. Wasn't wearing gloves. They've been through the mail. I don't know how fresh they are. So theoretically they are edible, but I would not recommend eating them. I'm not sure chocolate-covered cookies were the optimal choice here. They might have gotten melty in the mail, so my apologies. You can lay them out here. So you'll want to solve the numbers of protons, neutrons, and electrons in each atom. You'll lay out your cookies. I sent you 3 just in case there was any breakage in the mail, and then I also sent you this packet of icing. You could use a knife to spread it on the cookies. I'm going to just grab some scissors and snip off the corner here piece and spread it like so. So you don't need to make rings or anything. We're not going to do the Bohr model of the atom. I don't love the Bohr model. It's not realistic to the structure of the atom, so I just kind of briefly go over it. What I do want to see is that you have the correct subatomic particles in the center, in the nucleus, and the correct subatomic particles around the nucleus, flying around it. So they don't have to be in specific orbitals or anything like that. So I just spread icing over the entire surface of the cookie. And now I can get out some nerd candies. And I'm going to pick which color I want to be my protons, which color I want to be my neutrons, and which color I want to be my electrons. And I'm going to indicate that on the sheet. And then I'm going to place them in the appropriate place. Now I don't want to give anything away, so I'm not going to tell you what my color coding is here. But I just also wanted to show you that your digital scale comes with some tweezers, and they can be handy for picking up these nerd candies and placing them precisely where you want them to go on your cookies so that your atomic models can be nice and neat. And I'm just randomly placing them here, but you should only have 3 colors of candies. So then you will, when you're done, you'll take a picture of this entire page, and that will be part 1 of the lab. So now we can discard this, put this aside, put this away, wash your hands, and really set up for cleanup here. All right, so this part of the kit goes to the side. Now the second part of the lab involves this material in here and page 2. All right, part 2, counting atoms. So what we're going to be doing is you're going to be filling out this table here. So what you need to do, the data you're collecting is this column here. You're going to be weighing the mass of samples of these different materials. You're going to need to figure out what the molar mass of these materials is and fill in this column, and then use the mass and molar mass to do calculations, figure out the number of moles of the substance and the number of atoms or molecules of the substance if it's a compound. So I have a mixture of different elements and compounds here. And so for this part, you're going to need your digital scale. You also may need a few other things. So for some of the things in here, you can weigh them directly on the scale. So for like the aluminum foil, the penny, we would just turn the scale on, it says hello, then it reads 0, and then we would just put our little piece of foil on there and get a mass. All right, so for the solid things, the tin, the foil, and the penny, we could just weigh them right directly on here. Now the tin, this is a piece of saran wrap around some little pellets of tin. It might be easier to weigh these in the weigh pan that comes with your kit. So the little pan, And when we're using the weigh pan, we don't want the weight of the weigh pan mixed in with the weight of the material that we're weighing. So we put the weigh pan on the scale, and then we hit the tare button to tare it and get it to say 0 before we put our materials in. So we might use the weigh pan for the tin. We would definitely use it for the packet of sugar, and for the salt and for the baking powder. So here's the table salt and the baking powder. You're also instructed to take a mass of water. For the water, we're going to use that 10 milliliter graduated cylinder. The littlest one, okay? And so for this, we're also going to need to tare the scale. So we'll put the graduated cylinder on the scale, we'll hit the tare button until it says 0, and then we will add water to the cylinder and place it back on the scale, and take the weight. The other way to do it is if you don't tare the scale, so if it's at 0, you would need to weigh the cylinder before when it's empty, and then again when it's full, and do some subtraction, which is what we did in our density lab when we were looking for the volume. So there's 2 right ways to do it. Just make sure that you are not accounting for the weight of the graduated cylinder. And that's that. So then you'll be just doing some calculations. I'm going to turn off my scale and put it away. And then the last thing I wanted to say is do make sure that you don't use all of the baking soda and salt. You only need a little bit of it. You are going to need to save these materials. You will use them again in a future lab, so don't lose them or misplace them or throw them away. Do make sure that you hold on to them. And that is that.